All right. Yeah, welcome back to my class again today. Now, in the last class, we've been looking at the socket programming, and the last two classes I've demonstrated the server end. Now, today I'm going to show you the client end, where the client is going to try to connect to the server, and both will now start having a conversation, just like your WhatsApp. So that is what I want to demonstrate to you in this class. So for you to understand this class, you need to watch the two previous videos which demonstrate the server end, right? I explain how you create a server object, and then how you create an instruction for this server object to implement. So today I'm going to show you the client part, how the client is now going to send a message to the server, and then the server will respond. So before we go into the client part, I have to also demonstrate what we did here. I told you this is just like demonstrating your WhatsApp communication. That is a basic concept of what I'm doing to you practically. We are coming to the end of learning Python. My channel is Religion, Science, and Technology. Rest, right? So I am just trying to link up these three dimensions, which is what? Religion, science, and technology, using programming languages. So without wasting much time, let's demonstrate the client end to connect to the server. So the first thing we are going to do is that we are going to import our socket, because we are using the socket module in Python to create inter-process communication. The last two videos demonstrate everything that I've just said. So the first thing I will do is I will import. So this is the server end, which is what I have shown. I'm now going to write the client end, and then I will show you the link between the two. Practically demonstrate it on the screen so that you have a glimpse into how your WhatsApp communication or interaction goes. So the first thing to do now is what? Import our socket, import the socket module, right? These are socket module. So this socket module has a socket class that we need the behaviors in that class to implement this process. So import socket. Then we are going to create the host, which is what you are seeing on the board too. So meaning this 127.0.0.1.1. So this is a loopback IP address telling you that this client is communicating with the server on the same device. That is what this is telling you. And then the port. So the port is 5001, which is the port of the server, right? So this is the port the server is listening to. So that is the port the client is going to send the message to, right? So, and this means the server is on the same machine with the client. Okay, now I've imported my socket that contains the class and the object that I'm going to use in my program. Now, I've started the device, which is the same device, the host device. The port is 5001, which is the port the server is listening. Now I'm going to create my client object. I told you these are different realms. There is the Python world, there is the memory world, which is the physical world, right? Now I'm going to create an object in that physical world, which is in that memory, that will also communicate with the server that is also in that physical realm. But I'm in the Python world controlling it. So to create that object, I will say object, right? And I will say socket dot socket. So this is the default, which is also going to use the internet family, address family, and is also going to use the TCP protocol, right? So by putting this as a default, now I've created my object. So this obj is the object, which is the same thing as creating the server object that I did here. You can see this is the server object that I created. Now I'm also creating the client object in the memory location. So this is a pointer in the Python world that is pointing to the object that this socket constructor, class constructor has created. So this socket class constructor created an object. that is going to implement all the behaviors that are in this socket class. Now, having done that, I am now going to try to connect this client to this server. So I'm going to call the connect method that is inside this class, right? So I'll use this object to call that connect method. So I will say object dot connect, right? Now, where is it going to connect to? It's going to connect to this host and this port. So I will have this, then I will have the host, then port. So this is 1. So that's why you can see I'm putting it in double parentheses. So this is 1. That's why you have this one and then this one. So I am using this object to try to connect to this host and then to try to connect to the service that is listening in this port. So which is what? The server. Now this is done. You see, at the moment I did this, the server now did this. So this part now brings me to this. So the moment the client does this, the server will now activate the accept method to establish this, to create this connect object, right? From this address. So this address will be the address of this client. So this is the client part, right? This is the client part that we are demonstrating. So I have done that. Now connection has been established between this guy and this guy at this layer, right? At this layer. So this server will now print out connection from the address of this will now be printed out on the screen. So that has been established. Now I want this client to communicate with this server. So let us start chatting. The client will send a message to the server will respond. So two guys now trying to communicate. So we've created these two guys in the physical realm. And who are they? The first one is server. The second one is what? Object. And connection has been established. So hello, hi, that has been established. Now I want to send message. So the message we want to send is this. I will create a message object, variable message, right? Now, this message is a pointer, is a variable in the Python world. Now, what am I to do to store in this message? Now, having established that connection and the server has printed out the address at his own side, which you saw at the beginning of the video, the client is now going to display on the screen. I'll call the input function. Let's make it lowercase. Type message. Then I'll give a space. Then I'll close this. Then this one. So this will be displayed once the connection is established. This message will be displayed on the screen. Type message at the side of the client. While the server side is going to print out connection from, will be printed out at the server side. This side will show type message. So the client now is going to type a message. Right? It's going to type a message. But that message, I'm putting it inside a loop. I'm going to put inside the loop. Now, what I want to write here now should be on the same line, but because of this place, that's why I'm going to write it here. It should be on the same line. So I'll say while message not equals to, while this symbol not equals to, while message not equals to Q, meaning quit. As long as what I'm going to type as a client is not Q. The moment I type Q, that means I'm ending the conversation. So I am saying now it's asking me to input a message. So type message. Now I want to type. I will type and then I will send. But before I send, it will check. It will check. This is a loop. It will check. If the message is not equal to Q, it will now go in and then perform whatever action that I'm going to write here. While message is not equal to Q, it's going to go in and then send the message. So this object will come in here, object dot send. It will call the send method, right? It will call the send method. And that send method will now send this message, send message. But it will give it to the decode, to the encode. Now, just like this place, connect.send data.encode. So that is what is going to happen here. So while message not equals to Q, it will go in and then it will take that message, give it to the send method. But this send method will now hand over that message to the encode for it, because what you are typing is what is a string literal, and that string literal cannot go that way. So the encode method is going to convert that string literal to what? To byte, and then send it. So the message should be converted to byte, then given to the send method to send. So once that is sent, it will appear at the side of the server. It will appear at the side of the server, yeah, which is what? While true, connect receive. So this line, this line, this line will now be what? This client will send, the server will receive it, right? When then, if not data break, it will print that message out on the screen. That is the message that will print it out on the screen. Then, yeah, the server will now say input type message will appear on the server end. Then the server end will type the message. When the message is now sent from the server end, the client end has to receive it. So at this end now, what will you do? You will now create a variable data, sorry, is inside the while loop. So you say data, right? To receive, you create a variable that will receive the message that is coming. So it will become object dot receive RCV, right? It will receive 1024 bytes. So I'm asking it to receive 1024 bytes dot decode. So it will receive, the object will receive 1024 bytes of message, and then it will pass it to the decode method. This decode method will decode that byte into a string, and then it will store it here, right? It will store it into this place. Then it will now print, it will print received, oh, the space will not be enough. So I'll just say, I'll say from server. Then I'll give you space. Then I'll say plus data, right? So print from server data. So whatever data is stored here from server, it will print this data out on the screen. That is what will happen. Then after that, it will now come back here again and it will say message, which is what? This message initially, right? It will ask you again. What I wrote here will come again. Type message. So this will appear again on the screen, asking the client to type message. So the client has sent this message, then the client has received message from the server, and then the client has printed out the message of the server on the screen, and then it will now prompt you again, type message. So you enter the message again. So that loop will continue. Then when the client wants to end that conversation, all the client needs to do is to type quit, which is what? Q. Once the client type this Q, that means no message is going to go, because when it tests this and it sees this, so when message is now equals to Q, right, it will not come into this loop. It will come out and it will print, it will say object dot close. Now this is it. This is our client part. So this is the client part. Connection is established here. Then it will prompt you to type a message, to enter a message. If that message is not equals to Q, it will go in, it will now call the send method, and it will hand over that message to the send method. But before then, it will encode it, right, to byte, because what you sent is a string. Then it will come here. Once it is sent, the server part will receive, and then the server part will now do its own process and send a message. So the client part will now use that object to receive the message, store it in data, right? It will decode it from the byte to string. It will store it in data. Then it will print out from server. It will print out that message. Then it will prompt you again. It will prompt the client to enter a message. The client will enter a message, then, which is from here, it will enter a message like this. This process will take place again. So the server end will respond. Now, the moment the client type Q, this loop will not take place. It will come here and it will close. And then the server end too, not receiving any message, will also activate and it will close. So this is the client part. This is server end. Connection established. Connection established, and then message transmission will start. So at this point, connect send data. So this one will come from here. Will come from here, right, to here, right? Then it will print out. Then this one will receive. So like that. So this is how it comes, and then this is how it goes. And then when this guy close, this guy will close, and that is the end. So let's go to the pie chart and let me demonstrate this communication for you to see. And that will bring us to the end of learning Python. The next series will be on what? Learning C language. So please don't forget to subscribe and do not forget to like and to share. I also want to see your comments. So this is our PyCharm. Now this is the server end, as you can see. This is the script that we have written. And then this is the client end, which is the script we have also written. So I'm now going to activate this server end. I'm going to launch this script, and then you will see what will happen. So just look at this side for the server end. Watch out. So I'm going to activate this. You can see now the server is listening. Now I'm going to activate the client end, so you will see it. Then watch what will happen to this server end. So you see now the server end is showing connect from, then it's telling you the port of the client, but the client is on the same device with the server. Now at the client end is showing you type message, which is what this type message, that's what it's displaying. Now I'm going to type a message at the client end. So I will say hi. Now watch what will happen at the server end. Then I will say, you see, server end is showing hi. Now the server end is showing type message too, and then I will say hello. Then watch what happened to the, you see, this side is received from server, hello. And then it's asking you again to type message. So you say, how are you? Then you put the question mark. So it's showing here, how are you? I am fine, and you? So here is showing I am fine. So say here, when are you coming home? Very soon. Now the client end is going to quit by typing Q, right? So the client end is just going to type Q, and then you see message end, finish with exit code. That is what I want to demonstrate for you to see. So you can see, like we did on the board, you are now seeing all the videos. You are seeing all the things, import socket, host, the port. Then we are creating the object. Then we are binding that object to the host and the port. And then the server is listening. And then connect, which is the object that this accept has created when the client tries to connect. And then you can see this one is what print from the address, which is exactly what you see. Connection from, then this address, which is what? The IP address and the port number of the client. That's what you're seeing at the server end. Then this loop will start. And then you are seeing this, everything that we demonstrated on the board. Then the client end, the same thing, establish connection, and then to ask you to type a message, which is what you saw here, right? So this is everything that I have to show you in this class, a demonstration of a little concept of your WhatsApp messages, how you communicate, right? That is what I've just shown you. And then if you want to build more on this, you want to expand this code, you can expand it and then make it work exactly the way your WhatsApp is working on your phone. So that now brings us to the end of learning Python. Like I said, this is impossible for you to finish learning a language, right? You cannot finish learning a language because, like what we've seen, object oriented, you have the class and then you have different modules. So I just picked few modules and then few classes and few behaviors in those classes just to demonstrate the language. It is wide, very, very wide. So everything that you are seeing being demonstrated on Earth can actually be written with a language, because the language is the spirit part of any being. So it is not possible for you to say you've concluded. It evolves. But just to demonstrate the concept is what I have done. Now, the next series I'm going to start will be on learning C language. So if you enjoyed this, please don't miss that one. And encourage me, subscribe if you have not, share the videos, and I also want to see your comments. Tell me the things that I need to improve on, so that when I'm teaching you C, I will really concentrate and work on those things. So till we see in the next series. Bye-bye.